we find that when the drain tech turns the job over at the same time that they're there, so they haven't left yet, and the sewer advisor's rolling in the driveway, they make a warm introduction with the customer, the close rates are much higher. Welcome to the Reimagining Home Services podcast. I'm Brady Jolly with my partner and COO, Scott Sharrock. We lead a rapidly growing plumbing, HVAC, electrical, and water cleanup business, and we're on a mission to run a $100 million company. Join us as we walk through the challenges, decisions, and lessons that come with that journey. All right, welcome back. Today we are talking about, I think, our favorite.
Yeah.
Probably, are we allowed to say that? Favorite department? It's probably the department I think that we've been best at and most experienced over the years. It's the most profitable department if ran right. Probably also the most challenging, one of the most challenging departments. It can cause the most issues in a company and with customers. It can become a train wreck, but when done right, it is just an absolute beautiful thing. It's the drain and sewer department. So let's dive in. You know, this is the department that I feel closest to because I grew up in the department. When I grew up, I'm fifth grade. The sewer install leader back in the day, of course, process was done a whole lot different back then, but he'd pick me up and we'd go install sewers. So I was in the trench in like fifth grade and growing up, and that was always that was definitely where I worked the most throughout my years. So it's like the most I'd say, like technically, like I'm not, you don't want me doing your plumbing, but it's the most technically sound I am in any department. Probably is the drain department. I think that's maybe why I'm drawn to it. And then how can you not be drawn to it when it can produce the margins that it can produce? Now, that said, we've been on the side where it was not producing the margins it should, and we've been on the side where it's producing margins that are incredible. So let's dive in, man. Drain department.
Yeah. It's funny when you said favorite department, I started thinking of, it's like, I don't know if you can have a favorite department like you can have a favorite kid. Like we love all of our children, but the one that plays basketball we might like a little bit more. That's sewer. No, the drains. I think when we really dive in, we made the split out. We used to have plumbing service run every single drain, and I believe it was right around 2021. I think it was 2020 when we actually did the official split out. So what we mean by that is plumbing service techs would no longer be responsible for running drains, which is your standard branch clogs, which is like your kitchen sink, your bathtub, your shower, and then your main line, which we determine is a whole house backing up. So that may be a symptom of a floor drain backing up, or your toilet in the basement might not be working, or your whole house is backed up. That's a main line. So the technical terms that we use there, we'll talk about this in a moment, but we really love knowing the difference of main line and branch lines, and each of them having their own KPIs. Why don't you tell us about the marketing side first and the campaign we run, the success that we have to get these drains, and then I'll dive into kind of the technical side of the drains and how we turn them over.
Yeah, that's great. First, I want to start by what we like, kind of maybe the old school way of thinking about drains, how we used to do it. So like you said, plumbers used to do the drain calls. So every single plumber would have a drain machine. They'd have a large machine for main lines, small machine for branch lines. And
we would charge a lot for drains.
Yeah, and we would charge like $400 or $350 or sometimes $500 if you had to pull and reset a toilet to unclog a drain. And there was no model. It was just about the drain clog. So somebody's drain's backing up. Let's say it's a main line backing up in a laundry tub or through a floor drain in the basement. We'd come out for $350 or $400, and this is 5 or 6 years ago, and unclog it and say, typically, all right, it's unclogged, good to go, and it costs next time it backs up. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously to some listeners, good drains don't back up. You don't fix a clogged drain.
Something's wrong
with the sewer machine. 99% of the time, I mean, there's soft clogs, things like that, very occasionally, 1%ers, but something's wrong with the line if it's backing up, right? So we just found, and it was a lot through joining Nexstar, meeting other people in the drain business, that we were leaving so much money on the table. The only time that we would do like a sewer dig, I talked about like when I was a kid, I was on the sewer dig crew. Many times it would be, it just kept backing up.
Yeah, we were rodding it. We would rod main lines for like 4 and 5 hours.
Yeah, couldn't get it open. Literally couldn't get it open. And then we'd say, hey, we can't get it open. You need to dig this up. Yeah. So sometimes customers would have 3 or 4 or 5 backups. And, it wasn't like we never mentioned it. I think it was probably mentioned, but there was no process around it. Like, hey, we can do a dig for you. We can dig this up and replace it. But there was no process. So fast forward to the process you're going to talk about, how we streamlined it, separated the drains, have a turnover model to sales team, all that. Through that, we kind of determined that from a financial standpoint, you cannot do a drain call for cheap enough. There's almost no dollar amount, even if it's free, that it's not worth just getting as many drain calls as you possibly can. So that's why every city that you drive around in America, there's billboard after billboard for companies like ours and other type, some just drain companies that are $90 drains. 83 are free is a common one. $99 drain special. That's why there's drain specials in every city. We're not a discount company, or that's not our marketing strategy. We kind of like to market on value and on great service. Not typically a price marketing company for different reasons, different subject. But the one place we do that a lot is drains. We have a $90 standing drain special. So if you Google anything about drains, very likely in our area, our $90 drain special is coming up. So that's because of the financial dynamics that you just can't do a drain for cheap enough because of what it can turn into. I'll say we're not unique in that. We have an 83 are free company in town that does a ton of drains, other $99 drain specials, 93 are free drain specials. So pretty much if you have a drain clog in our area, you can get it unclogged for very inexpensively. So that's kind of the marketing strategy. Also, we layer on top of that an Unclog for Dogs campaign where we give 5 pounds of dog food for every drain we unclog. I just ordered 17,000 pounds of dog food, and we're delivering it in 2 weeks.
That's exciting.
I'm super pumped about it. It's just an awesome program that we started about 3 years ago. We're up to 42,000 pounds that we've given in 3 years, 3.5 years. So that delivery happens here soon. Another program, one, it's really cool and good for the community, and two, it just gets people thinking about using us for drains. So why don't you talk about the process?
Yes.
We go out on a $90 drain special or otherwise. What happens? How do we look at it? What's the business model?
So it's actually very similar for HVAC, those that do the HVAC model. We have a drains division. Their number one responsibility is to get flow to the line. And we typically say it's temporary flow. It's not a full, we're not cleaning the entire line all the way out where there's zero roots. It's really to get flow and for us to assess the situation. So it goes from drain tech to, we call them supervisor. And the supervisor, the critical part is for them to actually be able to visually show the customer on site to see what is really happening with their line.
So double down on that. What do you mean it goes tech to advisor? What's that process like?
Yeah, so our drain techs, they're going to run the drain call. They're going to come out to the customer. They're going to let them know what the process of the job. So we set the agenda of every call. It may look something like this. Hey, Brady, today we're going to get you flow to your line. Until we know exactly what's going on, I won't be able to offer any permanent solutions. I do have an advisor that will be coming out here, meeting me shortly to make sure that your house is taken care of. Notice my language there was we're really not asking for permission. Like, we want to make sure, and it is very true, until we get a camera in that main line, we don't really know what's going on. So what we're saying with the drain tech is, I am here to get you temporary flow to figure out what the real problem is. Or if there's not a problem, we're going to give you a peace of mind with the camera. So you have that option.
And to be clear, that camera inspection is
included
with the $90 drain special or whatever that is.
It's really an unbelievable value for the customer. It's a great value for the customer. $90, you get a drain tech, you get your line opened if possible, and you get to see exactly what's going on. There are a couple caveats. So what I mean, like, we talked about before main line, which is your whole house, which typically your main line is 4-inch line, which is what we do camera from. Your branch lines, which are smaller, 1.5 inch, 2-inch, depending on your house. We don't camera those, but we coach the analogy of it's like your heart, and we want to make sure that your main valve is good. This is an artery. This is a branch of that. We got to see if your whole system's good. And typically what we train our drain techs is sometimes we can push this down in the line, and then also identify when we're out there, it might not just be the drain clog. It could be the piping issue. So it could have cast iron, clay. There's also other things that could be issues that's outside of just what you can see till we have the camera in there.
Yep. So when you say it's not optional, I was just pulling up our KPIs. Like on main lines, we're turning over 93% of those. Mm-hmm. That's over the last 4 weeks. 93% of those mainline calls get a camera in them.
Yep.
And those cameras, every time a sewer advisor puts a camera in that line, that's an opportunity to sell what we talked about is the highest profit margin job in the home service business. And that's either a sewer repair, spot repair replacement, or a sewer liner.
Yep.
So go into the process, the drain technician goes out, unclogs the drain, flips it over to a sewer advisor comes out, then what?
Sewer advisor's number one job is to really provide a full customer experience where they understand what their sewer is doing. Like, I'm not afraid to say when I started in this business 13 years ago, I didn't even know what a clean out was. That's most of our customers. It's out of sight, out of mind. It's not really cool. There's not, it's not even like your HVAC unit where you have a thermostat, you can have a Wi-Fi. It's a sewer. Most of it's plastic. They don't know what's going on. They've never seen a drawing so their number one objective is educate the customer and make it a really powerful experience. So we're having them go on site, pulling the clean out, running the camera. We have really high-end cameras that can Bluetooth through our iPad. The customer can hold the iPad, look at the line, and as they're going through it, we're going to also mark it outside, and we're going to flag it so they can see what this is going under. This is going under a sidewalk, a driveway, landscaping. But by the end of the call, really what we want to be able to do is say we give 4 options. We've recently got into offering jets again. We used to not offer hydrojetting. We just found that it is a little bit of a bigger Band-Aid. Upon further digging, we don't want to take that option away from our customers. If they want to hydrojet, which is essentially a large pressure washer that there's a lot of different specs, but it's like 12 gallons per minute,
Jets, man.
4,000 PSI. They can get you in trouble if all you're doing is selling jets.
Yeah.
But
I have a love-hate relationship with jets.
What we do is at the point of the customer knows exactly what's going on. If they have a great line and it's in good condition, we're going to be able to send them that copy. They're going to know, oh my gosh, I'm going to, talk to my mother for putting baby wipes down the line or whatever happened. That does happen sometimes. Most of the time there's some issues. We have 4 options. So we start with a hydrojet. We have typically a spot repair, which is excavation. When I say spot repair, I mean we're actually going to take a mini excavator, dig it up. We have a full line replacement, which is typically inside and then outside, full main line. And then we offer sewer lining, which is the alternative, really great technology. We can dive into that later. But that allows us to do it, trenchless. Like there's no digging. It's really been a game changer for us. And then we're recently starting to get into sewer lining patching, which is similar process. So the customer is going to get these 4 options.
And price range.
Yeah, I mean, it varies. Jets can be $2,500. Sewer liners can be up to, 20, 25 grand. If it's a really big job, a big excavation job, I mean, we've sold and done excavation jobs that are, 30 or 40 grand, but those are not normal. Those are 500 really feet runs. They're typically like an isolated house that's off the road.
I always say it's funny, I get every time a sewer sales, both of us, we get an alert anytime something sells in sewer sales. When something comes across for like 50 grand, I just cringe.
Yeah, it's like, damn, might be out of scope. It's a big job.
This is going to be tough, and not that we can't handle it, but those are the jobs that a lot come. Like the sweet spot is like a $15,000 to $20,000 full line repair. We do those most days. We're working on one of those. What I want to touch on is the skill set of a sewer advisor. It's a hard job. the thing that's different about HVAC and like a comfort advisor or HVAC salesperson is when somebody's HVAC's out, especially if they have an old system, they kind of know, like, hey, I have this system here that's expensive. They might think it's $8,000, or they might think it's $16,000 or $20,000 to replace, but they have some sort of idea typically that this thing's expensive. That there's a chance I might have to replace this. Like before you walk through the door, many times we get calls for like mainline backups where there's water coming up out of a floor drain, and people just think, oh, $90 drain special. This is a little bit counterintuitive, something you have to overcome with a $90 drain special. Oh, just $90, come out and they're going to fix my problem for $90. Sometimes customers think like, so getting them, hey, $90 is going to give you, it's not a permanent solution. It's going to give you temporary relief, but the real solution could be $20,000 or $15,000. It's hard to bridge that. It's hard to bridge that 90 to 20. So that's the special skill set of a sewer advisor. I think that job is one of the most rewarding jobs and can be one of the more challenging jobs in the home service business. The other thing is those guys are not they're not held accountable to the same like close rate as
their KPIs are different
as an HVAC sales guy. So whereas an HVAC sales guy on say like a tech generated when a technician service tech flips a lead to them, they might be closing at 55 or 60%. The expectation is around 30% for a sewer sales guy. We're not even there. We're at like 25%. So
that was year to date last year. We were there the past 2 months, which is awesome. And that was kind of a belief factor. I'll just talk about like real quick since we're talking about sewer KPIs, sewer advisor KPIs. For a long time, I was under the impression of just like limited belief that we could consistently close over 30%.
Yeah.
We made a decision end of last year to split up tracking mainline and branch line turnovers. So it used to be if a drain tech went out and they turned it over to the supervisor, that was just, we'd only see one metric. So it would say ran, close rate, average sales sold. So we decided to turn over the factor, and really the intent of it was to figure out, man, are branch lines even worth it? Or do we need to be sending them to a different department? And we were extremely shocked. So these are real numbers. This is last month. We had 32 branch lines turned over for 37.5% close rate at a 10,700 average sale for 130,000 just from branch lines.
It's mind-blowing, dude.
Absolutely mind-blowing stat. And for the whole department last month, and they're trending this month. Actually, I'm sorry, this was January's numbers. It wasn't last month. We hit both January and February for sewer installs, so their months are very comparable. But for the entire month, we're sitting at a 35.6 close rate with a 10,800.
So I want to, the point of that is I actually had kind of been talking a lot, and you and I had been talking a lot about, hey, does it make sense to turn over a branch line? So in other words, that's like somebody's kitchen sink, bathroom sink is backing up. Does it make sense to turn those over for cameras? Like, are we really, for a mainline camera? Like, are we ever really selling anything for those? In our data, how we used to do it, we couldn't tell. It was just
we had no clue.
Total.
And we would hear objections from the supervisors.
Yeah.
All I'm running is branch line. So in their mind, they're disqualifying the lead before they even run it.
So it's absolutely mind warping to me that since we started, we changed that to track mainline turnovers and branch line turnovers. That branch lines are selling at a higher clip for the main sewer replacement than main lines. Now they turn over at a lower clip.
They do turn over.
They turn over at a much lower clip, but when they turn over to a sewer advisor, that sewer advisor's selling them at the rolling for 6% more, 7% more.
Yes.
Than a branch line. Unbelievable. And it's the power of data, because if it was up to me before we did the data, I would have probably said, hey, we need to come up with a new process for small drains, for branch lines. We need to flip it to a plumber for a repipe or flip. And so it's the power of data. This has completely proved me wrong of what my gut told me.
And it was transformational for our supervisors. And just for a little clarity, we didn't track that for 12 months. We've been tracking that for 4 months. It was November, December, January, February, and we've seen the exact same numbers across 4 months. Mainline close rate went up and branch line close rate went up. I wanted to just tell 2 more KPIs. I'm a data guy. I love KPIs, but I wanted to say on the drain side, we're turning over mainline. This is year to date last year, so this is the full 12 months, so it's very accurate. 90% turnover rate for our main lines. and branch lines is at 30.5%. We're really not happy with that number.
Yeah.
That's something that we're coaching. We have a couple strategy things that we're working on right now. We want to get that above 50%. Some of that is the urgency of the technician and language and practice. So they're also finding out the belief, because it's a win for them, how we pay our drain techs. This is a huge incentive for them, similar to the HVAC model. Whatever they turn over, if it closes, they get 2% off.
Yep.
So that's really important for them to get those options, for the customer, so they can do their 2%.
I want to talk about the mindset around drain techs. When we started the drain department, the mindset was this is a breeding ground for plumbing service technicians. It's a place where kind of the lowest level employee in the whole company, you bring them in, a young gun who's ready to learn. You can train them to do drains in a month. It's like pretty easy to train people on. That didn't work well. We had a lot of turnover in that. There's also some people here who are high performers, like our sewer manager came from that model, and he's now our sewer manager. So that was worth it all in itself. But in general, we had a lot of turnover. We just weren't getting the quality we wanted. We weren't hitting the KPIs. We kind of switched that to where, because then they just weren't making much money back then either. We switched it to where now, a drain tech can make really good money. Drain tech can kill it.
80, 90 grand.
Yeah. And we've got guys who now have been with us a couple years who are bought into the process. They know the process like the back of their hand. There's not a lot of turnover. There's not like this. It's not just a stair step to go to a new department. It's like it's a career. You can make a career out of being a drain tech. I think it's a common misconception, honestly, that should be a stair step department. And maybe people can do that, but it just didn't work for us.
And the way that I would frame it, we've had these conversations, especially for those people that are in HVAC or in plumbing. So let's do both. If you have a 10-year-old no heat, you're going to send your best turnover tech, your best tech. You're not going to send your newest green program that you're about to launch to get them in a truck, right? If you have a water heater that's busted at the bottom, you're not going to send your greenest tech. And for so long, we're like, oh, it's just a branch line or a main line. Let's send the newest guy we got who's 18 years old and has very limited experience. So it's definitely a mind shift there as far as the value. And we skill practice a ton. Like it's every single week we're skill practicing. We're really hammering down our KPIs. We know our numbers. It's back to the normal things of one-on-one coaching for both our sewer advisors and for our drain techs.
When I think of like customer service, think about the customer service that you get if you're a drain customer. You get an inexpensive, really, really, really high value job done, $90 drain. You get your drain cleared for $90. You get a free inspection of your sewer line for $90. $90, drain cleared, free inspection of your sewer line. Whether you go with the job or not, and you get a permanent solution offered to you, all in a very short period of time, like in a day. Like we talk about driveway handoff. We find that when the drain tech turns the job over, at the same time that they're there. So they haven't left yet, and the sewer advisor's rolling in the driveway. They make a warm introduction with the customer. The close rates are much higher in that case, rather than if you schedule the camera guy for 2 days from now, right? Because it just really hits that urgency. But I think one of the coolest parts about the department is it truly is like the best customer service you can give in our industry. It's like same day, you get an inspection. It's very high value. You're given a permanent solution. And these are hard jobs. The competition is just less in sewers. There's not as many plumbing companies that do sewers. You have to, many companies subcontract the
work out.
They subcontract the work, or at least the digging. Companies aren't comfortable with hauling equipment around. It's a large capital expense to get into it. So there's barriers to entry. That's another thing that I like about it. Once you're in it, you can really go take some ground. It's kind of funny. Like this is, we've been doing sewers for my whole life. My dad, when he started the business, was doing sewers, Now, this process and how we're doing it and how we're thinking about it obviously has changed in the last 5 or 6 years, and we're doing it at a much higher clip. But it's this 47-year-old department now, basically. 47 years we've been doing it, but I think it could be the highest growth potential that we have as a company, because I think we can just gain market share because not that many people are doing it.
Yeah, and it's exciting to see our growth in it. even with the sewer lining, we made a massive steps last year to be like excellent at sewer lining. We invested in equipment. We invested into training. Like we bring people here to train us as well on site, at our shop, on site at customers' locations. We invest a lot into it. Even being like an underperforming last year, we missed our budget in sewer install. We grew by 40% as a company, but we were pretty much flat for sewer install. We were at 60%, 62% roughly.
62% what?
For gross margin for our whole sewer department. Now, the past 2 or 3 months that we've been crushing, we're above 70.
Yeah.
And that's just by small tweaks. Like, it's very doable. It's not this ceiling that's not achievable. It's very achievable when you start hammering the process exactly the way it's supposed to be ran.
So I got to say, like, when we really were unrolling this sewer department and going to split it from plumbing, Nexstar was telling us, hey, you can achieve 69, 70% margins in sewer. So for context, like plumbing service benchmarks 58. 58, we're like 54. HVAC benchmarks like for installs like 48%. I think we're at around 50. So all of a sudden to have a department that you can hit 69 or 70%, we're like, man, I don't know. That sounds high. That sounds high. That sounds crazy. We have started to see that. Like you said, last year we were at 62, which you have a department at 62%, pretty good, but left a ton of meat on the bone. And we've seen we can get to 70. So that's what I mean by it's the highest, and stay there. Yeah, it's the highest gross margin potential in the whole company. Now, there's a lot of expense and risk. So I'm talking gross margin. I'm talking revenue minus material, labor, sales expense, permits, subcontractors, right? The thing about sewer is it's more expense heavy below the line, right? You got to buy you got to buy a ton of sewer equipment. You got to buy mini excavators, trailers. Trucks are expensive. Like we bought that service body over $100,000 for a service body truck.
Probably have $500,000 in sewer lining equipment at least.
Sewer lining equipment. Yeah, that was a $200-something thousand just to get into the business, and then we've bought more and more as we went along. I want to talk about sewer lining because I think that really rounded out the offering to the customer.
Yeah.
We were a one-trick pony because we'd go out and we'd say, we can dig this up. Maybe a two-trick because we could jet too, which I hate jets, but I'm coming around to them. They actually have been pretty good this year. But we could jet, we could dig up your sewer. Mm-hmm. People don't realize that when you dig up a sewer 8 foot deep, somebody's yard, 60 feet long, 8 foot deep, 4 foot wide, it is many times there's just dirt on covering every single part of the yard. It's an absolute bomb went off. It looks like a war zone. We try to educate our customers on that, and still even people come out like we've had women cry about, and probably men too, about how it looks, how their yard looks when we dig it up. It really is like a bomb. So being able to offer, hey, your yard's going to be totally fine, minimal. We're not going to be digging anywhere. It's like magic. We're going to shoot this liner through. It's really cool. So go back, I think we've been in that business 3.5 years now. For years before that was like, man, I want to get into lining. We had like one company in town that was so good at lining. Like, man, I want to do it, but it's intimidating. It's different.
Very technical.
So we just ripped the Band-Aid off, bought lining equipment. So I want to talk about how it went at first and then where we've come. Mm-hmm. It was probably sewer lining was the most challenging.
It was a shit show.
Literally a shit show. Yeah.
Both,
literally.
For sure.
The most challenging anything like that's ever been, like any new launch or anything's ever been. Mm-hmm. The first sewer lining job that we were on, we had our whole company there. I mean, we had probably 15 people, whole sewer department, managers. We had a trainer up from Tampa. So we'd been through training in a lab, and now this is the first real job. Mm-hmm. And this customer, we had kind of negotiated with them, hey, we're going to have a bunch of people here, first job, gave him a good deal on it. Super nice guy. He's like, yeah, great, cool. So he's involved in the process. He's out watching. He's loving it, kind of an engineer type guy. He's like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. The trainer's there. We shoot this liner, and we're shooting it back into the house. Liner's in, boom, releases this air pressure, it's in. Everybody's high-fiving. The trainer's like, yeah, your first liner's done. We cure it. It's we're pumped, we're pumped. We're starting to go in. We're going to inspect it with the camera to make sure it's all good. So I say to the homeowner, hey, man, why don't we walk downstairs, just do a quick little walkthrough. So he's got this nice finished basement. It's like kind of older, but he had like really clean, cool little setup there with like a big screen on the wall, some art, like some old art and like old pictures of family and stuff all over the walls. So he and I walk down the steps together. I'm first, he's behind me. And I'm about halfway down the steps, I smell something, like smell some sewage or something. I'm like, that's weird. Come down to the bottom of the steps. He's right behind me. There is sewage water dripping off the ceiling.
It's freaking
running
horrible,
running down the pictures on the walls. Like my knees went weak, dude.
Yeah.
My knees went weak. Literally a bomb went off in that basement.
First one.
That was our first experience. So it all worked out. The supplier ended up taking care of a lot of that, gave us a ton of material. The customer was super cool about it. We obviously took care of them. I wish I could say that after that it got easier and better.
Yeah.
But like our first 20 jobs, like 15 of them were train wrecks. It was really hard barrier to entry. That one was a kind of a fluke because the trainer was there. They should have caught that, and they didn't. Mm-hmm. But then from there, it was just like the realization we're trying to have guys who are used to digging up sewers and digging.
It's not the same skill set.
Oh, no. I mean, you just dig up a sewer, and I don't want to – sewers can be challenging, but once you're onto it, shit runs downhill.
It's like a different sport. Yeah. Like just because you're good at basketball doesn't mean you're going to be good at, pickleball. Like it's two different sports.
So then we're asking them to basically do a science project, and it's just totally different. So until we really got a ton of training, ton of expertise, like I was this close to just saying, hey, we failed at it and let's sell it and subcontract it out.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we didn't. So we got better and better over the years, but I think this here recently has been the major turning point to where we're a real lining company and we're doing it really well. Will you talk about how we got into that and how we kind of made that shift?
Yeah, I think it comes back to it was a miss from leadership. Like we failed our team that was out in the front line because we didn't train them enough. And seeing that gap, what I was doing is I was just doing some investigation work, just with other companies, talking to them about it and seeing all this great success, finding out like benchmarked materials were much lower than ours. Their efficiency was much better. So what was taking us 3 or 4 days is taking other companies 2 days. So it just a curious mind came and started asking a lot of questions and trying to figure it out. So we actually really lucked out. I had a friend of mine in the industry who started his own company, Trenchless Boss. His name is Justin, and he reached out and said, "Hey, man, I'm starting my own company. We're going to be, doing all things lining." And I'm like, "Dude, you could not."
And Justin's the Cincinnati expert on lining. Like
100%.
there's very few, maybe other than his partner, that know more about lining in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
He worked for that company I said that was doing all the lining in Cincinnati when we started. He was like their guy. So this guy is a stud lining guy.
Absolutely. So it couldn't have been better timing. So we immediately synced up and I just went through everything. Here's what we need. Here's what we want to go to. Here's the challenge that we had. We invested quite a bit of money. I mean, we bought many training packages to get them on site. Like I said, we bought different equipment, different heads, different attachments for like our P-coat machine, which is like a mini grinder, if you will, inside the sewer line. So he really came in and honestly, he gave us the best compliment. He said, your guys that are doing these sewer lines are some of the best I've ever seen in the business. They just needed to be taught a little bit more. So, and we feel the same way because our people are so good. Like they're just, there are core values. Like winner's work is one of our core values, and they just really care and want to work their asses off to make sure the customer is taken care of. So once we had that technical expertise help, a couple pieces of equipment, sewer lining, it can be like a silver bullet, golden bullet, because it's expensive and you kind of go out there, it's like shopping, you want to buy everything, and then
we were at the wet show 2 weeks ago. Every piece of sewer lining equipment's $100,000.
Yeah, I mean, we could have spent $400,000 easy.
I mean, it's like this big, and there's one little other piece. I'm like thinking, $10,000, $100,000.
Yeah,
like, all right. I mean, it adds up. It adds up. You talked about people. Got to talk about Bobby.
Oh yeah.
So I talked about like we were trying to make sewer guys into liner guys. And actually, now our liner crew is mainly made up of guys that used to be sewer dig guys, and they do both, right? That's best case. But Bobby, Eric, he is basically a scientist.
Yeah,
you know,
and he is.
I mean, not basically, he is. We've known him forever, and he's like a biology, chemistry major, at Kentucky. And he had worked for us in college and through college and stuff. And then
like his job before he was at a chemical
Shepherd
chemical lab.
Yeah. So when he came back as a sewer advisor, again, good friend, sewer advisor, did plumbing. And then we're like, hey, Bobby, we need you in sewer lining. We need you in sewer lining, like save us. So he came from excavation, but just having that, it's like that type of mind. It's a ton of measurements. It's a ton of super precise planning. Yeah. You spend a huge percentage of that time. And I think that's what the Trenchless Boss helped us with. We're used to just gripping and ripping. You go out with a machine and just start digging and throw a pipe in the ground. This is not like that. It's like a ton of planning and measuring and cutting and measuring twice before you cut, inspecting the line, cleaning the line. So just having a guy who's super good at it, super detail oriented, that's been the key that's just made this thing take off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think that our journey with drains, the last thing I want to come across is that we have it figured out. I think that we could really improve, like, exactly how we lay our options and point the customer to a certain spot on the sales process. I think that there's some improvements there, although our sewer advisors are doing such a good job. That's been kind of like something that the guy, Corey, who's running sales, has been working on. The jetters, like figuring out how they align, who does the jetters, because like right now our sewer install crews are doing jetting sometimes. They're an expensive crew, so should they be doing jetting, or can we fabricate, or they sell truck mounted jetters? Like those are some of the conversations that we're having to kind of make it more efficient. But I do feel a lot of momentum, man. I feel like there's a lot of wind behind us.
I think what we thought was maybe not possible, we're seeing it, and now you got to maintain it, which is the key. So it just feels really good where we're at with sewer. I think we got a great leader, sewer manager, sales manager, technical. Like it's a people business, man. I keep just thinking about that.
Yep.
Talked about it on a previous episode as well. It's just like, this is a people business. You're only as good as your people are. So invest in them. And I think that was my biggest takeaway was you can't expect perfection if you aren't given the support they need to be perfect.
And I'll say about sewer crew, they're just a little bit of a different breed. Like over the years, we've had like the rough and tumble type, like that are just hard to manage, don't really want to do. It seems like they were like, sometimes over the years, they were some of the last folks that wanted to kind of do the service system and the training and the soft skills and stuff. We sucked at training them on how we wanted to over the years. We couldn't connect on that. That's been the cool part about the group that we have there now. They're so bought in how we want to do stuff, customer service. They're like, live our values. They're happy. They're willing to help. So, I mean, we can't talk about people enough. I know we're beating that drum like crazy. So yeah, I'm sure we'll do another sewer episode.
Yeah, and I talked to Justin at Trenchless Boss, guys. I can't recommend him enough. Yep. We'll actually have him on here. We talked about that at the Wet Show, where he can dive in all the technical sides of sewer lining. But just proud of our department, proud of the growth that we have and where we continue to go.
Yep, totally. All right, so as we wrap up, something that's really important to us as we try to grow this reach of the podcast is we'd love for you to like and subscribe wherever you're listening. Subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, follow us on Spotify, leave a comment. And if you want any specific episodes, any topics come to mind, please let us know. Thanks so much.
Thanks for tuning in this week's episode of Reimagining Home Services. We're super excited that we'll have 3 episodes every month come out. They're going to be on all your major platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and also leave a comment if there's a topic that you'd like us to cover.